leaving the scene after accident resulting in death. The defendant not guilty or guilty? So say you, Mr. Foreman? So say you all? Jurors, hearken your verdict as the court records it. You upon your oath say the defendant on 00.
Well, this one has been months in the making. What began in a suburb of Boston nearly 4 years ago quickly captivated the country. The Karen Read trial ignited justice warriors all over the globe. And the man who drove the sleigh that set her free is here in studio. Alan Jackson today on Hot Mics with Billy Bush, presented by our friends at LA Golf. Hot Mics with Billy Bush. Great time. You know it. Well, we are live on TuneIn and YouTube. Wow. Karen Read's lead defense attorney, Alan Jackson, is in studio. He's got a lot of other things going on, and there he is. Alan, how you doing, buddy?
Good. You're looking good, as usual.
We're starting a little
Southern
late.
California sun works for you.
You're just hammering phone calls in the parking lot. We're like, it's Alan. He's like, what? 2 more minutes. You've got so much going on right now.
It doesn't stop. But this is worth it. This is a lovely reprieve.
Yeah, we're going to get to everything today. It's just, it's fantastic. We had after the trial, we met for a martini up in your neck of the woods and had a great conversation. I said, look, sometime I'd love to get you in studio. You said, absolutely, you can bank on it, and here you are.
And look at this situation you got going. This is the real deal.
Yeah, man, it's pretty good, right?
Absolutely.
Who needs TV? See you later, baby. This is where all the action is. I got to start. Have you been paying attention, before we get into to all the things that are Karen Read and,
sure,
and the whole trial and everything? Have you been following at all with this Jimmy Kimmel situation?
I've seen the same thing that you have. I've not been following it incredibly closely, but I know what happened. I heard the comments and I know what the aftermath was.
Kimmel says we hit some new lows. He was just doing a monologue. It was Monday night. He says we hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and doing everything they can to score political points from it. Would you rather, who would you rather represent if there was a trial? Would Team Kimmel or Team ABC or Nexstar?
ABC and Nexstar, without a question.
Why? Interesting, because the people seem to be outraged by anti-free, the anti-free speech of.
Well, some of the people are, obviously.
Yeah.
But I like taking on a challenge, and I love the idea of private companies doing what private companies are allowed to do. You get to hire and fire people. That's just the bottom line.
You don't think it looks a little fishy that they've got a merger going on and they've got to get FCC approval, and Trump has recently, taken money from ABC, from CBS. He's got a lawsuit against New York Times, Wall Street Journal.
Are they a private company? Did they take offense to what he said? Did they think that it fit the rubric of what their platform is and what it stands for? No, they didn't. So they're allowed to fire and hire who they want to. It's still a free country. It's still a private organization.
I will say this: there's one point about Nexstar, who owns 32 ABC stations around the country, that people have left out, and that is that one of their big stations, and a very profitable one, is KTVX Channel 4 ABC in Salt Lake City, where all of this sort of went down in that market. It's very conservative. It's largely Mormon, and I think their viewership is very pro Charlie Kirk. He's anything they've been, and Trump, and so they've been listening to Kimmel's jokes for 9 years, and maybe this is where they decided it drew the line. The timing is odd, though.
Billy, I don't think for an instant that it was one station that prompted this or promoted this or was the driving force behind it. My understanding is there was 26 stations throughout the country that developed a little bit of a consortium for Nexstar and said, look,
26 out of the 32, yeah.
We're pulling it. We're not going to show it. We're going to go to alternative programming. We're pulling it, and that's not just, that's not some MAGA crowd. That's not the administration. These are privately run stations. They're privately franchised stations, and 26 of them got together and said that's out of bounds. It's off limits. Kimmel has a right to stand up and say what he wants to say. People say, well, this is an attack on free speech. Nobody's putting Kimmel in jail. Nobody's putting handcuffs on Kimmel for what he said. This isn't some country where you can't say what you want to say. He can say what he wants to say. But you got to pay the price.
Just not on our air.
You got to pay the piper. He works for a private company. He gets a
You
check.
don't think it's at all a little fishy, the timing when you got a big merger right here? I mean, listen, Kimmel has said so much worse than that.
But there are straws that break camels' back, right? Camels' backs.
Camels' backs?
Camels' backs. There are straws that break camels' backs. And maybe that was it. I don't know. I can't speak for them. I don't know.
So you'd rather, so if you were going into that courtroom.
I love the idea of a challenge. I love the idea of the public.
But you like people cheering in the streets for your side, because that's what you had with Karen Reed, and the people would probably be cheering. I guess it would be a bloodbath. Who knows? Well, depend if it's in Salt Lake. No.
Yeah. Just wait. All right. It's all spinning. Right. It's to a certain degree. The theater of the courtroom, the theater of litigation is who does a better job of mounting your defense or mounting your position, and I do a pretty good job.
I wouldn't mind submitting an invoice to Disney too, so because
well, you would.
I'm wondering.
We probably wouldn't mind submitting an invoice to Kimmel either. He could probably pay the check.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, we're in studio here with Alan Jackson, lead defense attorney for Karen Reed, amongst many other things. We started with the acquittal. You saw the video there. I just haven't had a chance to talk to you about that. What always strikes me is just the love, that this team you guys came together like a real family right there. I mean, everybody's got the same hand signals.
We are a family. Still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yannetti, Dave Yannetti, who
Bob, Karen, me, Liza.
He's in tears, crying over this thing. I mean, have you ever shed tears in for any other client or any other acquittal? I
have felt emotion in just about every case that I've ever tried, from the prosecution side to the defense side. But I don't know that I've ever felt. I do know that I've never felt the level of emotion that I felt that day when I heard those words from juror number one saying not guilty. It was such a. I don't even know how to describe it. It wasn't just, it's not like out of a movie or a book. Like you just say, oh, okay, well, that's done. Next.
Yeah.
You don't get to flip that emotional switch. It was incredibly emotional for myriad reasons, not the least of which I knew that Karen and her family were going to have an enormous hill to climb to sort of get past all this. And this was the first step of that climb. The acquittal was not the end of her journey. That's where a new journey begins. Trying to put all this stuff behind her. You can't do it. You can't just close that door and stick this in a box and say, oh well, that was that thing that happened once. No, this defines Karen. This defines the Reed family. And to be part of that.
Yeah.
And to be part of that, what I pray is some level of healing for her, for Bill, for Janet, for Bud, for the whole family. That's an honor. It was humbling, and to look over at David, who got big tears in his eyes. He's an emotional man. I'm an emotional man. To be able to hug him, to hug Bob, and say thank you to them, and for them to say thank you to us, and for all of us to sort of come together. That was a very, very special moment.
A lot of people are wondering why, Karen hasn't spoken much, and you explained it to me when I was just sitting with you privately, but easy to share. Now, you just look, when you've been in that kind of fight or flight for 3.5 years, people are coming after your life and send you to jail for the rest of time.
Right.
You need a minute to decompress. If you start running to press interviews right away, it's like...
No, you're right. I mean,
you.
that's you said it best. You need a minute, and that's what I said to you when we were having a drink and talking about it. I said she just needs a minute, and she deserves the grace of the public and all her supporters and people that watch this trial with interest from an intellectual and an emotional standpoint. To give her that grace to take that minute. It's not, someone did lose their life, right? At the end of the day, this is still a very, very sad circumstance. Someone lost their life, and the person or people responsible for that have yet to be brought to justice. It would be inopportune. That's not even the right word. It would be classless just to start taking a victory lap. That's not what this is about. Her ordeal is something I don't know that any of us can really understand. We can try.
Yeah.
I know her very well. I've gotten to know her as a family member myself, but I don't know that even I know, or I could put a finger on everything that she and Bill and Janet, her parents, are going through and will continue to go through. Are they happy? They're incredibly happy. Are they vibrant and living their life? Yes, they're living their best lives, and they will continue to do so. But I don't think any of them saw this moment as an opportunity to, raise their hands and run a victory lap. It was a hard fought battle that affected them, affected Karen more than any of us can quite understand.
I think people are pretty good judges of character. Just like, I read that book, Blink by Malcolm Gladwell.
That's one of my favorites. I love it.
I like it too.
Yeah.
In the blink of an eye, you really get a sense of someone, right? Of what they're about, what they are. I mean, like when you talk to Bill Reed, of which I have several times, the father of Karen, all you can see is like true blue, like man of faith, like just this guy is there every day supporting his daughter. I mean, there's just no way. And you see Karen Reed, who's, she's not afraid to share a little extra information in an interview because she's got nothing to hide. Does she speak a little much when, in some of these interviews she did before the second trial? Well, when you're, if you're innocent, you're not overly thinking about what you say.
Correct.
Right? So you could feel the authenticity.
Yeah, people ask me many times, legal practitioners ask me many times, like, what were you thinking? How could you possibly let your client speak in public that often about so many subjects? The gloves were off, and there was no strings attached.
Because she has nothing to hide.
Because she has nothing to hide. She didn't do it.
Yeah.
She's innocent, and she's articulate. She can articulate for herself her own innocence. She didn't need me to do it. I need to throw in or assist in a courtroom for sure. But she could articulate her innocence as well as anybody, or better than anybody. So what the hell did I have to hide? I didn't care.
Karen said she took a little vacation there, just with her parents. They got away a little bit, and you told me you did get to decompress a little yourself, right? Where didn't you go somewhere?
I went to Europe.
Yeah.
I had a birthday, so I was able to steal away to Europe for a little bit and
I'm seeing you on a yacht somewhere in the Mediterranean. Was there a little?
That may have happened. There may have been a boat somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a rowboat, not a yacht, but there was a boat.
Do you know how
involved.
to unwind? I mean, you're very busy.
No,
and
I don't.
No.
That's why I'm hanging out with you. I got to learn from you. I know you know how to unwind.
I'm learning. Yeah.
Yeah. It is a skill. I got to tell you, it is not that easy to put the phone on mute and just say, I'm not going to do it. To shut the computer, shut the laptop and say, I'm not answering those emails. That is a skill set. It is one that I have not yet developed, but I'm working on it.
So, in your mind, or have a pretty good picture of what actually did happen, since Karen Reed did not back up and kill John O'Keefe.
She certainly didn't.
So you in your mind, you have a pretty good picture of what did
Yes.
happen?
Yes. But next you're going to ask me what it is, and I'm going to deflect.
Will we have an opportunity at some point to know what that is? Because at some point, maybe you stop going on defense, right? And will you choose to go on offense or just walk away and live life?
There are several different forums that we have available to us to discuss this on the private side of things as well as the formal side of things in courtrooms. Our courtroom sojourn. Our odyssey is not quite done yet. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be out in Boston on Monday for a court appearance.
We give the first hearing in the civil trial, right?
Right.
So what happened? Okay, so that's Monday, September 22nd.
That's the 22nd.
It's the first hearing on the civil trial, folks. Karen Reed was acquitted on all charges against her in the retrial in the criminal case, but now we've got the civil case brought by the O'Keefe family against Karen in 2 bars in town, wrongful death, emotional distress, all these things. It looks a little different. Instead of 12, correct me if I'm wrong, 12 jurors in the criminal, this will be 6 jurors that you in the civil trial?
The court makes the determination, and honestly, I don't know what the court's going to decide or what Massachusetts procedure dictates. It could be 6, it could be 9. It's not going to be 12.
What happens
Generally.
in this hearing that comes up on Monday? It's the first big event.
Yeah, it's a status hearing. It's when the court basically says, what are we doing? What are we expecting? What are both sides expecting in terms of moving forward? What's this litigation going to look like? It's basically a look-see where everybody kicks the tires to figure out kind of what's next. How big or little is the litigation going to be? How much time needs to be allotted to the discovery process, the pre-litigation motion process, law and motion work, things of that nature. So it'll be relatively formulaic, but we, you might want to tune in.
Really?
Sure.
Are you going to go? Are you going to take some? Are you going to be forceful? Take some shots?
Anything we do on behalf of Karen is forceful. We're not going to sit back and just have the case come to us. We go out and we tend, as a team, to go out and be affirmative, be assertive with our movements. So that's our intention. We'll do that throughout the entirety of the litigation.
Wow. How long do you think this thing takes?
I mean, look, I'm not a civil litigator by trade. These things they count them in years, not months. So it could take a minute.
Okay. Well, Karen is, the latest. She's serving 1 year of probation for operating under the influence and a suspension of her driver's license for a year. Is her car any closer to being returned? The Lexus SUV that they've been hanging on to?
Yeah, it's been returned.
Okay.
Yeah, the
So
car
she
is no
can't drive
longer
it
in the
for now.
Massachusetts State Police possession. It's in our possession or tangential to our possession.
Mandatory treatment program, that was part of it, right? Does she have to do that?
Yes, she's following all the protocols of a standard DUI in Massachusetts. Nothing special, nothing more, nothing less. Yeah.
Other latest news, Kelly Dver. You said Dver, and you were right. Because it would be two V's if it was Dver.
Right? It's the difference between Eddie and Edie, right?
You were right calling her.
Yeah.
You should have said, you know what, ma'am? Actually, no, that is not your last name. Your last name is Dver. But anyway, Kelly Dver, who originally stated she saw Brian Higgins and Canton Police Chief Kenneth Berkowitz suspiciously surrounding Karen's Lexus SUV in the Canton Police garage called Sallyport, then later called it a false memory under your cross. She resigned from the Boston Police Department on September 1st. She was on medical leave or family leave or whatever all summer long. What are your feelings about her today? Do you have any sort of, I don't know, sympathy for, it's kind of a sad character.
Sympathy.
Her whole life, she's so young and she's just got any? Or is she...
Zero.
No
sympathy whatsoever. She's also a grown woman. Young, I don't care. She's grown.
Certainly rude.
She was old enough to carry a gun. She was old enough to carry a badge. She was old enough to take an oath, right?
Yeah.
Those things come with consequences, right? You've got responsibilities. And look, I take no pleasure in, I'm not going to dance on her demise, but do I have sympathy for her? No. She made her bed, as the old saying goes, and she's got to lie in it. So I think it's exactly what should have happened did happen. She should not ever carry a gun, carry a badge, be in a position of authority, running herd over the community. It comes with consequences.
Alan, we're going to go to the chat section here for a second. We're live, so people are fired up to get something in here. Marley says, are there cameras allowed in the civil trial?
It's up to the judge. Normally, cameras do not go in civil cases, but look, think of Johnny Depp. So cameras were allowed in that case. So we'll see. I don't know. It's up to the judge.
Lizard says, what's up with the Jen McCabe texts that Turtle Boy got, but Karen Reed's defense did not get?
Well, that's a whole other can of worms to have to unravel, and we're not done fighting on that battleground. That's a very good question, salient question. It turns out that there were Michael Morrissey texts that we didn't get. There were Jen McCabe texts that we didn't get. There's a lot of discovery that we didn't get. Turns out, thank God, we didn't need it to win the trial twice. But it is questionable why we didn't get that stuff. It's pretty outrageous.
Wow. Boy, here's an interesting question. Do you miss the trial atmosphere and supporters, or are you glad it's over? And do you imagine that all those people will return and come back out?
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. Do I miss the trial and the supporters? I speak with Karen pretty regularly. I don't talk to the rest of the team as regularly because they've all got businesses and clients and court appearances and things going on in their lives. But the reality is I never thought that I would feel this way, but I absolutely desperately miss that adrenaline rush. I do. I didn't think, I was like, when I was in it, I was thinking, when is this thing going to be done? Like, when is this going to be over? The stress was unbelievable, as you can imagine.
That support from the crowd must have just been like, you're going into like arena every day.
It kept us buoyed. We were like gladiators.
You're like LeBron, the lawyer. I mean, just going into the game. And Jackson checks back into the courthouse. Here he comes.
No, it was, that's what kept us going every day, is that the adrenaline punch that we got from the supporters yelling, calls of support, for me, for Karen, for David, for Bob, for Liza, for all of us on the team and around the team, for Evan, for the other interns that were working for us. By the way, Evan, I should tell you that I poached from Karen, one of the interns that we hired, that worked with us daily during the entire trial. Hired him, and he came out to California. He's now a member of Worksman Jackson.
No way!
No, I'm super proud.
A Karen Reed intern is now an apprentice. He's underneath.
Correct.
He starts with coffee, and then he moves to laundry, and then he gets he's already a paralegal.
That young man is going to court. He is sharp as a tack.
God,
yeah. No, it's amazing. This whole thing. So to bring it home, yeah, I miss it every day. I miss the trial atmosphere. I miss the fight. I miss the adrenaline rush. This is why I do this job. Every lawyer that wants to be a trial lawyer, I mean, this was the case to want to try. So yeah, I miss it all the time. And I miss Karen, I miss her family, I miss the rest of the team. It's funny. I never thought I would, but I do.
Amazing. Civil case is coming. Like we said, Alan Jackson is in studio here. We are live on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. We are taking questions from the chat, and they are absolutely flying in here. But will you be leading the team for the civil trial, or are you just there and ready to, like the sixth man on the bench, to check in because you got some other things going on?
Well, obviously, I've got a pretty heavy practice here in California, so it's we as a team have all decided that we're going to divvy up the work apropos of each one of our responsibilities. And obviously, knowing that I'm 3,000 miles away, it's a little difficult for me to do some of the day-to-day stuff. But my skill set is trying cases. I'm not a civil litigator. I don't do law and motion work in civil cases, generally speaking. So I will leave that to the professionals. She has an incredibly, incredibly talented team at She and Finney. Those lawyers are just going to crush it. There's other lawyers involved as well. She's got a pretty good bevy of lawyers to take on the laboring oar from now until the trial starts. I would expect that I'll have a pretty heavy role in the trial, but we'll see. There's a lot of talented folks.
I mean, you've done all of this before. It's kind of odd. Like, okay, here we go again. I mean, you don't have to do that much work, and this time I wouldn't think.
You know,
right?
it's funny you say that. I wondered when the first trial ended in a hung jury, and I immediately knew, okay, we're going to do this again. Here we go. Right, to your point. Here we go. We're about to have to take the laboring oar on the exact same river that we just navigated. It should be a layup. I've never worked harder in my life than I did in the second trial. It was double the amount of work, triple the amount of work. We had all the same information that we had previously, the discovery, thousands and tens of thousands of pages of discovery. Now add to that all of the new information that came out during the trial, all the new transcripts, all the new cross-examinations, the direct examinations. We're dealing with a new lawyer. They brought in new experts. God knows what the civil trial is going
And wasn't
present in terms of new experts and things of that nature.
Wasn't there evidence that they didn't let you present in the second trial, that maybe this time around you can? Isn't there stuff that you were prevented from sharing, like major stuff?
Yeah, and an enormous. Well, how about the fact that the federal government was involved in the investigation of the investigators? How about that?
Right.
Yeah, that's the whopper, right? That's the big one. But there were myriad examples of things that we were not allowed to present. Judge Canoni was extremely restrictive of our defense in terms of what we were allowed to present, even through the experts that we did call.
Is she corrupt?
I'm not going to use. I'll leave it to others to judge and use words like that. I think I've done what I needed to do. I'll tell you this:
compromised?
I feel very good about what I presented, what the arguments that I've made, the information that I sort of presented into the public forum, the conversation that we engaged in the public forum about Judge Canoni and the Massachusetts justice system in general. I'll let others decide: is she corrupt? Is she compromised? I don't need to use words like that.
Are we going to see a lot of the same people on the stand? In the second trial, we didn't see some of them. We didn't see, like Brian Higgins. We didn't see. Are we going to see Brian Higgins?
I think the entire
Jen McCabe,
cabal of bad people will be.
Oh my God! The band is getting back together. I mean, this is going to be a whole nother round.
I said this before. Nothing's off the table. No one's off the table. They're all set. Look, they wanted to bring a lawsuit. They brought the lawsuit. We didn't bring a lawsuit. We're defending a lawsuit.
Who are you most looking forward to questioning out of all the bad apples?
Yes.
All of them. Jen McCabe?
Oh, I would relish the idea of having another conversation with Miss McCabe. Yeah.
Yeah. And Brian Higgins, who escaped the last
one. Mr. Higgins, yes, absolutely.
Well, Mr. Michael Proctor, the leader,
I would imagine that
he'll be back.
I imagine he will not be able to duck this one.
You see, this is the shithole that they've got themselves in, and this is a real problem, right? Because Mrs. O'Keefe is very upset, the O'Keefe family, and they think this is that they're going to get their answers here, and they want justice, and they want to get paid for this, and they're going hard, and these people are telling them, you're right, and now they have to go through it all again, and they know inside, oh God, if our lives weren't over before.
You know, the problem with that, Billy, is I do have. You talked about whether or not I have sympathy or empathy for Kelly Dver. Or is it Dver?
It's Dver, but it's Dver.
I don't have any sympathy for Miss Dver because she made her bed. She's going to lie in it. Like I said, she brought this on herself. But I do empathize with the O'Keefe family, writ large, all of them. I think that they have been sold a bill of goods. I think they were sold that bill of goods when they were the most vulnerable. They had just lost a surrogate father, a son, a brother.
Yep.
That's devastating, and I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. But in that moment of vulnerability, in those times of vulnerability, they were sold a bill of goods for a reason, for a specific reason, to turn them against Karen and to turn their eyes away from the actual truth of what happened. And they have sort of absorbed that since then, and they've never wavered. And that's a shame. That's a shame. It's not shame on them, but it's a shame that they feel that way because they can't and won't quite see the truth. I feel empathy for them. But what I'm not going to do is sit back and watch them or anybody else take shots at Karen and try to take advantage of a civil courtroom and try to establish some sort of liability of her that doesn't exist. That's never going to happen on my watch. Not as long as I'm alive and breathing.
We are live in studio here with Alan Jackson, defense attorney for Karen Read, and the civil trial will get going with its first hearing on Monday. So Alan will be flying over the weekend back to Boston. Questions are rolling in, and yes, we are live. Miss Jessica says in our chat, "You're not live."
Why not?
Hi, Jessica.
Hi, Jessica.
How are you?
We're live.
Now what, Jessica? As live can be. Nicola Moffat is asking a question. Will it be hard to get a jury? Like, who hasn't heard of Karen Read, in that area?
It is, yeah. It's super challenging. It was very challenging the first time. It was 10 times more challenging the second time. but we'll do it again the third time if need be. Yeah, we'll get a jury. We'll get a fair jury. You bet.
Your involvement required court approval because you live out of state.
Right.
Is there any thought that they might have dinged you for that? Like, just keep Jackson out of here?
No. There still is a Sixth Amendment right that Karen has to a lawyer. So she gets a lawyer of her choosing, and there was really no reason to believe that any judge, especially Judge O'Shea, who seems to be a very, very reasonable judge, was going to keep me out of the case, or Miss Little. Liza Little's in the case, and one of my other partners, Caleb Mason, is also in the case.
Well, oh yeah, he's new.
We've expanded the team. He's not new to the firm. He's been around for a long time.
Why is he coming? What's his expertise?
He's a former civil litigator. He understands the contours of the civil litigation side of things, which I don't practice in. So he just adds a font of knowledge that is amazing, and somebody that I can lean on and rely on back here in California.
What is the thing that you do better than anyone else? Or what is your greatest strength? I mean, geofencing and cell phone data, or is it the way you prepare? Like what makes you so good? I
can't say that I do anything. I appreciate the compliment. I don't know that I do anything any better than anybody else. One thing that I never get accused of is being underprepared. I do prepare like a crazy person. If there's something that I need to learn, like geofence data, which most people don't know anything about, I will learn it from top to bottom, left to right, before I ever walk into a courtroom. If it's EDR data, if it's trigger events, if it's text stream data, things that don't roll off the tip of my tongue, I will learn as much as there is to be gleaned on that subject before I ever walk into a courtroom. The last thing I want to have happen, look, I'm never going to know more than an expert does on any particular, if it requires an expertise. I'm never going to know more than them, but I damn well will be conversant on that subject matter. And so I just study a lot.
Have you ever been caught on your ass in a moment where you didn't know something and you were
Sure.
like, and so that just said,
Sure.
okay, never being here again?
Yeah. As a young lawyer, that didn't have to happen more than once or twice.
Right.
And I realized, I'm not going to be made a fool of again.
Joy Schmeha, that's what she calls herself. Her name is Chrissy, but she's one of our family here. She's asking, Alan, will things that were impounded be allowed in the civil trial? Will you be able to call Colin Albert? That's a really good question.
It's an outstanding
Joy.
question. Yeah,
Colin Albert is a very interesting character here who was kept away from the spotlight in the second trial entirely.
Right. Think about it this way:
he's the son.
The writer's name is who? Who is it?
Joy. Her name is Chrissy, but
Chrissy.
Yeah.
That's a very salient question. Think about it this way: all of the evidentiary rulings that Judge Canon made, they're all out the window. We start with a clean slate. So yes, the answer is: would we be able to? Do I believe we'd be able to, if we could establish the relevance and materiality of Colin Albert, which we clearly can? Would he be on the docket, on the witness list to be called by either side? Yeah, he sure could. And so could Brian Albert and Nicole Albert and Julie Albert and Chris and Matt McCabe and Jen McCabe, the whole bevy of folks. There's nobody that's off limits.
I have. I'm going to ask Alan a question, but I don't want the camera on me while I'm asking. I'm a body language expert, also freelance body language expert. I want it on Alan, just Alan.
You do know I have a poker face, right?
While I ask the question, and this is seriously, like when I think about what could have happened that night, I think about this kid Colin Albert because he's troubled, and he has gotten in a lot of big, serious trouble in that state before. And I think coming home, drunk, mom, dad, get their people over, whatever. Higgins is there. I think that the Higgins-Colin Albert combination is really something to look at when I think what could have happened. And that Colin Albert kid got loud. And I think Higgins, who of course had designs on Karen Reed and was texting with her a little bit, he got involved, and I think that's where the violence occurred. I do think the two characters are Higgins and Colin Albert, and mostly I would look at Colin Albert. Am I
think that's
totally wrong?
No, I can't say that you're totally wrong. I can't say that you're totally right either. I have my own ideas about what happened, but certainly anybody who watched the trials anybody who watched or read the motion work that we presented, anybody would reasonably come to a conclusion damn close to what you just suggested. That is not far afield. I don't think you're unreasonable in thinking that. Will we ever know who landed the fatal blow? I have my thoughts about who that was. There was a blow that was struck on John.
A brutal blow.
A brutal blow. And he went back and he hit his head on a ledged surface. And ultimately
Probably something in the garage, probably something he fell back on. Huge gash.
You saw what we tried to do in the trial in terms of the garage. And we were thwarted in large part by Judge Canon in terms of trying to present that evidence. But there's a reason that we wanted the jurors to see inside that garage. There's a good reason for it. That wasn't just we weren't just doing it for shits and giggles. There was a reason.
What did you see in there?
There was clearly evidence of a structure that was absolutely 100% consistent, is 100% consistent.
With the gash on the back of the head.
With the gash on the back of his head.
And the structure was?
A ledge, a concrete ledge that you step down on, about a 4-inch ledge, made out of concrete with rough edges. It's funny because the coroner said, the medical examiner said, it was a ridged surface with uneven edges, not a smooth edge, uneven edges, as reflected in the autopsy photos.
Sal in the super chat here says, looking back across the testimony and exhibits from both trials, which one piece of evidence do you consider the single most decisive in demonstrating that Karen Reed did not strike John O'Keefe with her vehicle, and why?
Probably Michael Proctor's lying in his affidavit after affidavit, when he said he got the car. He was absolutely focused on making sure that he lied and deceived about when that car was taken. Why? Because he damn well knew that he had that car before that light was cracked. He needed time. He needed to have those moments. He needed that 90 minutes or so to have access to that taillight before the...
So the missing 40 minutes of tape from the Sallyport garage it's like the Epstein trial. It's like we're missing a minute of footage there, but you're missing 42 minutes of him back by the amazing thing in the first trial when you were like, excuse me, this video has been reversed. Right. They literally tampered with evidence in the worst way.
Right. So they all sort of fit together. These all dovetail these pieces of evidence that you're talking about, the inverted video, the Sallyport video that's missing 42 minutes, the exact time when the SUV was pulled into the Sallyport, which would have shown exactly the condition of that taillight, all missing, all inverted, all reversed, lied about in affidavit after affidavit after affidavit. Why all of that worked together to establish that the taillight material was not at 34 Fairview until after Michael Proctor and his folks had the car in their and its taillight in their possession. So when someone asks, what's the one piece of evidence that establishes she didn't hit him? Well, I could point to Dr. Wolf because the car never hit John. I could point to Dr. Rentschler. John was never struck by a vehicle. That's not where his injuries came from. I could point to Proctor and the lies. The car was in the Commonwealth's possession before a single piece of taillight was found. I could point to Canton PD. Canton PD did not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, 5 searches, 5 individuals looking for taillight material when they found John at 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m. Not one single piece of taillight material found until 12 hours later. So all of these things dovetail together. It's a tapestry of evidence. It's not just one piece of evidence. But once you start looking at it, it's so obvious. Then you think to yourself, okay, well, why? Why would these folks? How could you say these folks are lying or just working together in this conspiracy? These people went to high school together.
Yeah.
Every one of these people lived in. They found an investigator, Billy. Think about this. They found an investigator that's independent. After, I hate air quotes, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to channel the president a little bit. Independent. They found an independent investigator after Canton PD was conflicted off of the case because the bad guy's brother works at Canton PD. So they go find an independent investigator who lives a mile from where this happened.
Not that independent.
In Canton. And went to high school with some of the folks that populate Canton PD. And his wife knows people that his wife was supposed to have one of the Alberts babysit for his kid. I mean, this is all within hours and days of this event. It is not a stretch to realize that this entire tapestry of evidence was just completely fabricated.
And why?
To point at Karen.
You look at the prosecutor in the first trial, Adam Lally, and then the second one, Hank Brennan. I mean, you have to think these are reasonably intelligent people. So what are they? They know what they're up against. They know the cards they're holding.
They're there to win.
They're there just to get a win for the state
That's
and for
it.
law. That's
it.
Doesn't matter if that girl spends 20 years in jail.
If they
50.
had any other view of this, they could not morally have prosecuted this case. If they had any other view other than, I just want a scalp.
What would you have done if you were the prosecutor and they said, hey, Jackson, we need you to prosecute this case? Would you have looked at it and said, yeah, not doing it?
Absolutely.
Really? They can do that. They can say no.
I wouldn't have just said, yeah, I'm not doing it. I would have said, this needs to be dismissed. And if you don't dismiss it, I'm going to dismiss it and I'll quit before I stay in an office that will prosecute this case. It was bullshit, and they knew it from the beginning. Both Adam Lally, I don't give him a single pass. Do I think he woke up in the morning deciding he was going to frame Karen? No, I don't think Adam Lally is of that ilk. But he absolutely knew well enough to know that this was not provable beyond a reasonable doubt, beyond any and all reasonable doubt. Walk away. That is your job as a prosecutor. You are not supposed to prosecute a case that you don't, in your heart of hearts, believe that you can prove to an independent jury of 12 folks beyond a reasonable doubt. There's no way he woke up in the morning or went to bed at night thinking that he could prove this case, nor could Brennan.
These are morally compromised people.
100%. 100%.
You will be walking back in for the civil trial, returning to the Coliseum. I mean, literally, it was such a scene there with that crowd. Those guys are behind you, and you have a guy named Mark Diller, who is the lawyer that's in front of you. I wondered, what's his deal? He's a personal injury guy. Is he better than Jacoby and Myers? Is he a Sweet James? Is he a Larry Parker? I don't know, but I went to his website. I found his video. Let's take a look at opposing counsel and see what we think. Steve, you got him?
My name is Mark Diller. I'm a plaintiff's personal injury trial lawyer. I'm exposed to hardships of my clients, and I understand their struggles, and it gives me a level of appreciation for how valuable life is.
Beautiful vanity shot there.
My father is a first-generation American. His parents survived the Holocaust and came here at the end of the Second World War.
Okay, that's
When
enough
they
of him.
came here,
That's
they
your guy, Mark Diller, right there. Do you know anything about him?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I mean, I know that he's a PI lawyer, which means he's after money. That's it. He doesn't care about justice. He doesn't care about who's right or wrong.
And he's going to get paid. I mean, it's something.
Yeah, I'm guessing. I'm guessing he's going to get paid something, or that's what his hope is. But he's not going to get paid by Karen.
No, he's not.
So
what is happening with the next steps beyond the legal? You have a state or federal case that you might bring on offense this time. Get off the heels and get and go after the people who actually did this. And then there's also, the movie. There's a book. There's these things. Has Karen started to write? How far along is the movie project that we all want to see?
I'm not going to speak for her. I will tell you that there are talks underway. Certainly, we're discussing those very things pretty regularly. So I can't imagine that there's not an appetite to hear from Karen in that forum, in that particular forum, both from a book standpoint as well as potentially a film standpoint. So I wouldn't say no, that's not going to happen. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty confident it will happen.
A movie or a series or either one?
Folks that are smarter than me and in that industry will make that decision. But
they're not smarter. But I can tell you that.
People that know the
creative,
industry,
maybe.
Yeah, more creative, that know that side of the industry better than I do. They'll make that decision. But I do know that there is this is the the top and the bottom of this discussion is really not self-aggrandizing for us, for our team, for Karen, for her parents, none of that. What we're focused on, what I think Karen is focused on, is shedding light, shining a bright light in as big a forum as we possibly can on the corruption that led us here. And not just corruption on January 29th, 2022. Corruption that is generational in scope. Corruption that is centuries old. Corruption that dates back to post-colonial Massachusetts, a one-party state where there's no checks and balances whatsoever. People get voted into office over and over and over out of something that is just beyond me. It's habit. It's just, how does a Michael Morrissey get voted into office over and over? And he's completely 100% incompetent and compromised. He is compromised.
The DA from Norfolk County.
Correct.
He won't be running again. His popularity is so
who,
low.
Who knows? I mean, we say that, but
time does go on.
He's got a war chest. He's been making money and saving money for decades.
How's the DA in
of
Plymouth County? There's civil trials in Plymouth County, right? It's a different county. Yeah, Morrissey's not involved.
Has nothing to do with the DA's office. Keep in mind, that's a civil case.
Oh, right. He's just, okay.
Right. Yeah.
Can you call Morrissey?
Sure.
You can call him in the civil trial?
Absolutely.
Are you going to?
Who knows? We'll see.
Oh my God!
I've already said, Billy. I'm going to say it again. Nobody.
The crowds
is
will be
off the
wild
table.
for that. People are not happy with that guy.
Yeah. No, they're not, and they shouldn't be. They should be disgusted with that guy. That guy he has one job to do: protect their interests, and all he does is feather his own nest. So, and that kind of crap happens over and over and over because there are no checks and balances in Massachusetts, and that's why a book needs to be written. That's why a film needs to be done or a scripted series needs to be done to get as many eyeballs and readers to understand what really happened, what really has to happen for a community and a system at large to do what the Massachusetts justice system did to Karen Reed. It doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen by happenstance.
Wow. Alan Jackson is in studio with us. Alan, you can check your email for one quick second while we pay a bill here, because we're going to get into your future and what's ahead. And I got one more question about whether you want Casey Affleck or Jason Sudeikis to play you in the movie, but give me a second here. We want to tell you about our great partner here, Venbrook Insurance. You want to know the real ROI of employee benefits? It's retention, it's culture, it's business health. Words of wisdom from Allison Myers, who heads up Venbrook's benefits and specialty health team. She knows her stuff. Allison's team builds custom benefit plans for companies who are looking to turn their workforce into a strategic advantage. This isn't just about cheaper premiums. When you invest in people, everyone benefits. The right program builds healthier teams and stronger business outcomes. Venbrook's whole mission is helping companies make bold and healthy choices. That's why their tagline is Boldly Go Forward. Connect with Venbrook's benefits and specialty health team today at venbrook.com/hotmics. You can tell them I sent you. Casey Affleck or Jason Sudeikis. I'm really into this Sudeikis thing. I think he would be great. It's coming off of Ted Lasso. It's a little meatier, but you guys have there's some vibe there.
I have no idea. I've never met Jason. I've spoken to him on the phone once. Never met Casey. I'd be honored by anybody who wants to play the role of the person that walks in and gives an assist to Karen. So I'll let other folks make that decision.
There's a project unaffiliated with Karen, with Elizabeth Banks in the starring role as Karen Reed. Is she flattered, or is she like, huh? I mean, she's definitely reacted to that.
I think it's more the latter.
Yeah.
No, like, look, if you're gonna tell the story of someone who's sitting here, she's still very much alive. She's still sitting here. Maybe you might want to make a phone call and say, hey, by the way, I want to tell your story. You want to help out, or you want to back off and let me do what I'm going to do? At least make the phone call. She never did. She and her people never did anything to reach out to Karen. I'm not hard to find. I'm easy to find. And there was no overture through me to Karen and no overture directly to Karen. So it is a little bit off-putting. Karen didn't authorize anything that's going to happen in the Banks project, and I didn't either.
It's a little like seeing people as sort of objects or like a piece of meat or something like
Yeah,
that.
I think-
Because you could learn a lot by, now you kind of, Elizabeth and the team, have they lost their opportunity to really consult with you guys and learn more?
No, they've lost
Not
that
gonna happen.
opportunity.
Yeah.
They've lost that opportunity. I don't think they're ever intended to take that opportunity. I think they're opportunists, and I think that it's exactly why they decided to go down that road. They just they saw dollar signs, and Elizabeth Banks probably had a little bit of an ego moment and thought she could play Karen Reed. I'm not so sure she could. I'm not sure.
I hope it's
she's
not
got
a
the
comedy
chops.
because she's a comedian.
She
but
seems to be a comedic actress, and that would be an absolute tragedy.
I think
if
a
she-
mistake for everybody.
Yeah.
I don't think she'd do that. I think she's looking for a dramatic role here.
Yeah, and I don't know that she can pull it off. We'll see.
Since we are live on YouTube right now on our channel, we want to give a shout out to Bill Reed and Janet. They are watching, and hi Bill, how are you? Karen's
Bless
father.
their hearts.
Karen could be right there too. We don't know. She tends to pop in sometimes. Last time we were talking to Bill, whoop, there
you go.
she was. But if you're there, hey guys.
Nice to see you, Bill. Nice to see you, Janet.
There they are. So Peter Murphy, who 30-year sergeant in the Canton Police Force, a wonderful guy who was with us the whole way throughout the trial. He said nobody hates a bad cop more than a good cop, and he said, "Is the RICO Act needed here?"
So it's a good question, right, Peter? We'll see. Like I said, I'm going to keep repeating nothing's off the table. I'm not going to give away the farm. But yeah, there's obviously we've looked into that significantly.
Okay, he's keeping some cards. The cards, Peter.
There you go.
But do you want that from him? So I think unless we've missed anything, I did want to ask you a couple of questions. You will be going in and out of Boston, but you have a case that's going on here.
I do.
Is there anything you can say? This is a case of a young guy. He's 23 years old. His name is Frazier Bond.
Right.
And he was driving on October 17th, 2023, driving on the PCH in Malibu. And he had hit some cars, and the cars then hit four women who lost their lives.
Tragically, right.
Tragically. They say, allegedly, the prosecution says he was going 104 miles an hour. You said more like 70, if that's correct. He's charged with 4 counts of murder, 4 counts of vehicular manslaughter with gross negligence. What can you tell us about him? It seems most unfortunate.
Something as equally tragic as what happened that night is the charging decision of the DA's office. I've got to say, there's no way to put into words the tragedy that occurred, and Frazier understands that and agrees with it. The problem with this case, it is wildly overcharged. This should never have been charged as a murder case, certainly not 4 murders. There was a single incident that occurred. It was a tragic accident, and that's all it was. I can tell you exactly why this ended up being a murder case, and it's for all the wrong reasons. We've talked a little bit about politics and DAs and Michael Morrissey in Norfolk. This case was charged under George Gascon. When George Gascon was getting hammered daily.
This is the old DA in
Correct.
Los Angeles County, folks, who just got voted out overwhelmingly.
Correct.
And replaced by Nathan Hochman.
And Nathan and his campaign was doing a remarkable job of shining a light on the fact that George Gascon was soft on crime, soft on crime, soft on crime. He was just soft on crime. And in the midst of that, George Gascon was embattled at that point, an embattled politician, desperate to try to right the ship, as Nathan Hochman ran an incredibly powerful truth-telling campaign about how poor a job George Gascon had done. And it was all true. But what George Gascon ended up doing then is this was laid out for him probably by his campaign, not by his DAs, as a silver platter. Oh, you want to see soft on crime? Watch this. I'll take this rich white kid in Malibu, supposedly rich white kid. Frazier doesn't have a penny to his name. And I'm going to charge him to the sheets. I'm going to throw everything I've got at him. 4 counts of murder. I suspect, I'm pretty confident that if Frazier had a different last name, if he did not fit a particular demographic, we would never be having this conversation. This is not a murder case. Did you know that, and this is tragic about the Pepperdine students who lost their lives. There is no way to get your head around that kind of loss, that kind of silence, that kind of sorrow that fills your soul about their loss. In our lifetime, years back, the president of Pepperdine, the sitting president of Pepperdine, Norval Young, was driving his car and hit 2 women and killed them both.
Really? The president of Pepperdine now?
No. Years ago.
Years ago. Okay.
No, this is.
Oh, he was sitting
This
at
is
the
back
time.
this is back in the 70s. He was the sitting
And heading
the
back
sitting
to
president.
campus or whatever.
Hit 2 women, killed them. Except Norval Young was drunk. As you know, Frazier Bond, no drugs, no alcohol, not on his
And
phone.
he was 21
not
at the
emailing,
time, a young
22
kid?
at the time.
So why was he going so fast on the highway
Let me-
anyway, whatever speed?
Let me finish my point.
Yeah.
Norval Young hit 2 people and killed them. Involuntary manslaughter, 4 years probation, not 1 day in jail. Not one. Not one. My client is facing 4 life terms, back to back to back to back, for an accident. This case is wildly overcharged. It was a political backlash filing. That's all it was. And my hope is Nathan Hochman is a very, very different DA, a very solid DA. My hope is that the only reason that this is continuing under his watch is more apathy than in anything malicious. I don't believe he's malicious at all about this particular prosecution.
Can he throw it out if he wants to?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I expect to have a conversation with him and his staff about exactly that, righting the ship. Let's prosecute this case as it should be. I will defend this case all day long with the right charges, all day long. If it was charged as a vehicular manslaughter, I could defend that all day long because I don't believe that Frazier did anything criminal. It was a tragic accident that was born out of other circumstances, including a road rage incident in which he was being chased down.
So was he trying to outrun somebody who was going after
Not
him?
outrun him, but just get away from him. Create distance. That's what you're taught to do. Get away from the person. Don't stop your car. Don't get out. Don't get into a physical altercation. Just get away from the threat, which is what he was trying to do. And he lost control on an incredibly dangerous little spate of road, about 1.5 miles of road in Malibu called Dead Man's Corner or Dead Man's Curve. And it was at that point that he lost control of his car and this accident occurred. It was just a confluence of tragic events. And he didn't mean any harm to any person.
Sliding doors.
Exactly like sliding doors. Change the circumstances 3 seconds, 5 seconds, one way or the other on either side of the incident, and this tragedy does not occur.
The families of these 4 women are grieving, and their grief has had enough time to turn to anger. I mean, how do you get to them? Because, do they understand it, or are they just like, don't pay
Billy,
for this, rich kid?
Yep, the last thing I would do is try to change their minds. They're going through a grieving process that I can only imagine. I can't even imagine. So I would never try to change their minds. No. But that's why we don't have private prosecutions in this country. That's exactly why we don't allow the victim's family to prosecute, because they do see red. They do hurt in a way that we can't imagine, and they do want some kind of retribution. I get that. I understand it. That's why we have professional, objective prosecutors. This was an emotional, politically driven decision to charge this young man, 22-year-old young man, with not even a traffic ticket, not a parking ticket, with 4 counts of murder, and seek to put him in prison for the rest of his life. Think about that. That's the tragedy that's the second tragedy of this circumstance.
Wow, you have got such a busy schedule coming up. Just a final question from the super chat here: is the Frazier Bond trial going to be streamed? Is it going to be for viewing? I can almost guarantee it is. I don't make that decision. The judge ultimately makes that decision, but Judge Rubinson has allowed cameras in the courtroom up to this point, and I would imagine that there's going to be a very, very significant request by multiple agencies to multiple outlets to stream it live. I wouldn't be surprised. Wow. So it's gonna go again.
Yeah, it's this is a heavyweight case. It's something that keeps me up at night, much like Karen's case did.
The amount of time you spend on television, defending people, you really should be the next Judge Wapner, down to when it's all said and done. Just take it. I'm on TV so much. I'm just going to be the judge and sit here, a Judge Judy, and drink your Vesper Martini and just.
No, I'll come sit next to you and co-host you right before I'll do that.
Oh, good. Make that a promise. Okay, Alan Jack. Oh, I just have to ask one question. You did defend, and it was thrown out, Kevin Spacey years ago.
I did.
Do you stay in touch with him?
Yeah, we do.
I text him sometimes. He's gone dark on me. Will you text him later on and just be like, it's time to come in and talk to Billy Bush?
Happy to.
All right.
I'll text him.
Okay, good. Alan Jackson. Boy, I hope you're never in the need of having to call him, mostly because he's very busy and he might not be able to, but it's been a real pleasure, man. Thank you
pal.
so much.
Appreciate you.
I appreciate you coming in here a lot. And he is back at it on Monday, the first hearing for the civil trial, the O'Keefes and Karen Reed. So back to Boston you go.
There I go.
That's it for us. Hot Mics with Billy Bush, presented by LA Golf. Take your swing to the next level with LA Golf's cutting-edge technology. Visit lagolf.com and upgrade your game. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you here on Monday.